Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now, 13th of November, a new FIA championship starts, and our first foray in the Manufacturers' Cup is going to be 17 laps around the south outer loop of Tokyo Expressway in Group 4 cars with tyre wear set to ×10, fuel set to ×3, and we're going to have a tyre requirement where the hard tyre must be run in the race. So the first strategy we're going to look at here is the non-stop. Now, before making this video, I watched a Key 25 stream a few days ago where he was doing some testing on this track, and they did 3 races and nobody in the first 2 tried the non-stop, but in the third one, Firestorm did the non-stop and actually won the race quite comfortably. So in the face of it, this would appear to be the strategy to run in the race. However, I don't think it's quite as simple as that. Now, we are in the Nissan GTR for this non-stop run. Obviously, because the hard tyres must be run, that is the tyres we are on. I don't think the racing mediums would last the 17 laps anyway. I think you'd be struggling at big time come the second half of the race. So with the fuel meter up there, we'll talk quickly about fuel. I think you're going to have to do some mild fuel saving in this one. Well, you are if you're going to do the non-stop anyway. The GTR seems to be able to save fuel quite well in this configuration. I don't know if it's because there's a lot of high speed stuff. The GTR seems to save fuel not too bad in this instance. And any other car that I've tried, the Corvette and the Citroen, both of them I have had a wee shot of, try to do the non-stop, and they can certainly save the fuel not too bad whatsoever. Now, looking at the lap times, if we look at the lap times on the right hand side, we can see we've done our fastest lap on lap 11 there, a 41.1. Most of our laps coming in that sort of low to mid 41 range, so the tyres do last quite nicely. But as we approach the end of the second last lap and about to start lap 17, we can see the tyre wear indicators. We're maybe down to about, I have like a small screen to look at as I'm recording this, maybe about 40% at worst on that front left. So reasonable wear on the fronts in this track, but the grip of the car doesn't feel too bad whatsoever. We are now on very low fuel, so that compensates for the lack of grip just a little bit. And we've managed to keep the lap times in the 41s. Bar a tardy lap there in lap 13 for some reason. I think we might even pass the AI car in that one. As I said, we've kept it in the 41s pretty nicely, but as the tyres get worn, you are prone to making a few more mistakes. So we've done a 41.9 and a 41.6 there on laps 15 to 16. So despite the fact that we're burning the fuel down, we are still slowly but surely losing lap time as the race progresses. Now, this long drag here is going to be very important in the race. This one looks very much to me like it's going to be a slipstream battle. Being in the slipstream of the queue of cars that you're in is going to play a big part in dictating your possible strategy for it. I only really think the non-stop can work if you're in the slipstream of other cars doing the same strategy. I think otherwise you would lose way too much time compared to a one-stopper. As we come across the line here, we are going to do a 41.4, I think, so only 3 tenths off our fastest lap of the race. So just a 41.9, apologies. But yeah, the tyres hold up not too bad, but you will struggle towards the end on the non-stop. That finishing time there is a 28.53.6. I think there's really only 2 strategies possible in this race. I think you're either going to have to do the non-stop or you're going to have to do the one-stop. I think any more pit stops than that and you're just giving away way too much time. Something that we'll see just a little bit later in the video. Now, as in last season when there was a tyre requirement, I think you should be able to run the hybrid tyre compounds to fulfil any tyre requirements. So in this instance we are running the racing mediums in the front and the racing hards on the rear. Some people say you shouldn't use a softer compound on the front. compared to the rear, as it makes the car too oversteery, but I think in the Group 4 cars you can definitely get away with it. And you can see compared to the non-stops early lap times, which were low 41s, the gain in lap time is quite significant. That's a 40.0 there, just because we've got a much better front end. So moving on, we'll take a look at the pit stop. We'll just briefly sort of discuss the lap times there on the right hand side of the screen on the racing medium, racing hard hybrid compounds. Laps 2 to 5 there, actually quite a nice lap time increase over just using hard tyres, so you can see the benefit of putting the mediums in the front, and even more lap times after that. There's a kind of equalised if we were just running hard, so there's definitely a benefit to running the racing medium, racing hard hybrids. And as we come towards the pit lane here, which is in a bit of an unusual position in this track, it's actually halfway around the lap. So your in lap and your out lap actually just become the one lap in this one. So not a great entry into the pits, but we're going to move on to a new set of mediums. We've done the necessary fuel saving in this one, so no fuel required. And as we leave the pits, the pit time is going to stop at 12.4 seconds. Now, just to demonstrate why it's quite a good idea to save fuel and avoid refueling if you can, I came and done a pit stop here, and we're going to take on 10% worth of fuel. So new tyres, 10% worth of fuel, and as we come out, the clock is going to stop at 14.2 seconds. So 1.8 seconds more than not taking any fuel on, and that's only 10% fuel. Obviously the more fuel you take on, the longer that's going to be. Not a huge loss. Some people might think it's worth being able just to run the car at maximum revs and get the maximum speed down the straight and take on the fuel. I believe you're better to save the fuel and reduce your pit stop time. Now we rejoin the car on the out lap here. We are now on a fresh set of racing mediums into the tricky chicane, but it's quite easy to pick up a penalty. That's been my penalty that I'm currently at this point of the race getting rid of. And as we come across the line here, we'll get an idea of how long a pit stop costs. So there we go, our in-out lap is at 51.4, which is over 10 seconds slower than a normal lap. And that's why it's really only viable to do either the non-stop or the one-stop and not a two-stopper, because you're going to burn 20 seconds worth of time in the pits and you're just not going to make that back up even with the fresh tyres. So moving to the last lap of the one-stopper. The lap times there, you can see we did have a brief foray into the 39s. But not a massive increase over the first, what's the word I'm looking for? The first stint, that's the word, the first stint. Not a massive increase in lap time over the first stint. I think that's because the GTR is a power car and gets most of its lap time from this long straight here. I think cars who sort of rely more on handling to get the lap time through the twisty section find a much bigger increase on moving to the full racing medium tyres on low fuel. So we've got the fuel where we need it to be. The tyres are holding up not too bad. We have had a bit of drop off in lap time come about lap 14 there, sorry, lap 13, about half a second. But we're still considerably faster than what the non-stop is at this point, easily gaining a second a lap. So as we come to the end of this run, we'll get a comparison in the finishing times and we'll be able to see what proves to be faster. Again, once again, through the tricky chicane, GTI actually rides the sausage curves pretty nicely. Out the last corner, and as we come up to the finish line, are we going to keep it in the 40s? Yes, we are, a 40.4, so not a bad lap to finish on there. And that finishing time comes up, it's a 28.47 in comparison to a 28.53.6, so 6.6 seconds faster for the one stop. However, I don't think that's quite the whole story for strategy in this one. Like most of the Tokyo Express tracks, this race is very much going to be a slipstream battle. So if you're on the non-stop and you're on your racing hard and you can stay in the slipstream of cars on racing mediums, which should be doable, then you're going to be able to sort of lap at pretty much the same pace as them for a portion of the race before you might lose them. If you can sort of hold on to them for 4 to 5 laps, their tyres are then going to start to fade and equalise with your sort of tyres, and you should be able to maintain with them for the duration of that first stint, which would then mean they go in for a pit stop and put on the racing hards and lose about 10 to 11 seconds to you, and they have to try and gain that over the second stint, which is not going to be an easy job if there's quite a lot of cars doing the non-stop. So I'm not going to recommend a strategy for this one. I think it's going to depend on your qualifying, it will depend on your car, what strategy you want to run. Only thing I would recommend, if you're going to do the one stopper, then do put the racing mediums, racing hard, hybrid tyres on your car, because it will prove considerably quicker over that first stint rather than just doing racing hards. But as we'll come towards the end of the video, we'll just quickly go through those bullet points here. The one stop strategy is quicker than the non-stop in clean air. However, slipstream will dictate your possible strategy. I think if you're on the hard tyres at the beginning of the race, then well, I suppose you are then committed to the non-stop. Anyway, I hope there's been some helpful information in this video to give you an idea on how you're going to look at strategy. As I said, I'm not going to recommend a strategy. I think both strategies are viable and will depend on a number of factors. We'll end the video there. Thanks for watching, and we shall see you on the next one. Goodbye now.